Sometimes devotion doesn't feel like love. It feels like gravity, like being pulled towards something you can't name, can't define, can't even fully trust, yet you keep turning in that direction. I notice it in small moments, when attention softens without effort, when the mind stops asking why and simply stays. There's no emotion necessarily, no tears, no ecstasy, just a quiet orientation. And that's where the Bhagavata Purāṇa begins to appear, not as a book about gods or stories, but as a map of how consciousness naturally bends toward the whole. We often think Bhakti is emotional, singing, crying, surrendering. But when I sit with this text, it feels subtler than that. Bhakti feels more like resonance than feeling, like tuning, like the way one note causes another string to vibrate across the room. The Bhagavata doesn't push belief. It assumes alignment. It assumes that consciousness, when unobstructed, leans toward coherence, toward unity, toward something larger than the fragment we usually call me. I might be wrong, but it feels less like worship and more like physics, as if awareness, when it relaxes, naturally curves toward the source it emerged from. The cosmos in the Bhagavata Purāṇa is alive, not metaphorically, structurally. Planets aren't objects. Time isn't a backdrop. Creation isn't finished. Everything is in relationship. Everything is listening to everything else. And somewhere in this vastness, consciousness appears not as an accident, but as a participating node. The stories of Krishna don't feel like moral tales when seen this way. They feel like disturbances in the field, gentle disruptions that remind the universe of itself. Leela, they call it. Play, but not frivolous. Play, cosmic play. The kind where nothing is wasted, not even confusion. I notice something strange when I think about devotion this way. The effort disappears. The struggle to be spiritual loosens. Bhakti stops being something you do and becomes something that happens when resistance fades, like when the body finally exhales after holding tension for too long. The Bhagavata seems to suggest, without insisting, that devotion is not directed toward God, but emerges from alignment with reality. When the mind stops fragmenting, when identity softens, when control loosens, what remains naturally orients toward the whole. Toward Krishna, or perhaps Kṛṣṇa, is just the name we give to that orientation. There's a quiet radical idea hidden here, that liberation doesn't come from effort, discipline, or even understanding, but from intimacy, from relationship, from allowing consciousness to relate to existence, not as an observer, but as a participant. Bhakti dissolves the distance between knower and known, and suddenly the cosmos is no longer something you look at. It's something you belong to. The Bhagavata Purāṇa doesn't explain the universe. It invites you into it, into its rhythms, its cycles, its paradoxy, its tenderness. And then there's love, but not sentimental love. More like recognition, like meeting something and realizing you were never separate from it. The stories don't demand belief, because belief would actually get in the way. They ask for listening, for staying, for letting awareness be moved without deciding where it should go. Even suffering, in this light, becomes a form of proximity, a way the universe pulls attention back toward itself when it strays too far into separation. As you sit, air noticing breath, continue on its own. Thoughts rise and fall without instruction, emotions appear and dissolve. It becomes harder to tell where devotion begins and awareness ends. Maybe Bhakti is simply consciousness, remembering its source without needing to name it. Maybe the Bhagavata Purāṇa, Asenti pointing toward God at Albatud, the moment when the sense of other quietly collapses. And I feel that this isn't the end of the journey. It doesn't feel like arrival. It feels like intimacy deepening, like the river no longer asking where it's going. Something beyond devotion is already forming. Something quieter, something that doesn't even need orientation anymore. And whatever comes next, it feels closer than thought.